Man. Ending to a roller coaster season, I would say. I don't know. I don't know what the Broncos are going to look like, to be honest. This is going to be a very different team next year. I feel like a lot of the, plague is going to be removed in terms of just bad contracts, bad players, people who can't stay healthy. A lot of these players are not going to be on the team next year, and I'm pretty excited for that. But, it's kind of brutal, ending this season off not in the postseason when we easily could have made the playoffs. It's pretty annoying. And just to top it off, you lose in Vegas to the Raiders, as the last game. So that's never fun. But, yeah. Let's get into it. I'm still excited, even though they're not in, I still am, I'm still kind of excited for just the playoffs in general. I feel like there's a lot of great games coming up. But yeah, let's get into it here. Saturday, we had the Steelers at Baltimore. A lot of the starters were not playing this week. Lamar being one of them. Steelers had to kind of, win this game to get to the playoffs. I felt like they were going to win. They did. This was a garbage game. A lot of backups were playing. Nothing really interesting. Steelers were barely able to even win this game. But, yeah. Baltimore already had the 1 seed locked up. So, no point in playing any starters this game. But, yeah. Pretty basic win. There wasn't really anything to go off of here. Steelers starters versus the Ravens backups. Pretty much all it is. Saturday night, we had the Texans at the Colts. Both teams needed to win to see who was going to get into the playoffs. And, I had the Texans winning this. This game came down, pretty much to the very end, with, that dropped pass. Bad play call, bad coaching decision to keep that running back in, bad execution by the running back, just an all-around really bad sequence. And really dumb, in my opinion. But, yeah, the Texans played great. Jonathan Taylor actually had a very great game. A big, just shocker on why he didn't remain in the game at the end there. But, yeah, it was just a pretty close game, all the way up into the end. Not a lot of offense was being showcased here, but possession time. This game was tight, all the way to the end. As you can see here, it's only 4-point difference, time possession, everything was really close. But big win for the Texans, making it to the playoffs since, Deshaun. So that's pretty cool. For Sunday, we see here we have the Falcons and the Saints. Like I said, a lot of these teams were not playing a lot of their starters. The Saints didn't. They had a slim chance, I believe, to get in. But I think their playoff hopes kind of died somewhere, maybe a week before. I'm not sure. But, yeah, Derek Carr, very impressive. He had 22, 264, 4 touchdowns. A very efficient game. But, this was a garbage game. Nothing really to go off of. It's just kind of a, it was a big blowout. Plus, it was a meaningless game. So, nothing really to go off of there. But Jameis Winston actually, let Jamal Williams score that on one of the last plays of the game, which was pretty hilarious. Falcons coach was super pissed, and then he gets fired. Jags and the Titans. This game was really close. Neither team had a chance to get into the postseason. Trevor Lawrence played horrible. Ryan Tannehill played pretty bad as well. This was just a bad showcase of offense and just a pretty defensive game, playmaking wise. But yeah, it still doesn't make sense. DeAndre Hopkins being on the Titans, it just looks stupid. And I don't know. I got this game wrong. I picked the Jaguars. I thought they could, beat the Titans, but I guess not. It seems like Derrick Henry might be, his last game as a Titan. So we'll see potentially where he's going to go next. I would love to see him on the I don't know. I think I could see him like on the Cardinals. I'm pretty sure he would want to go to a team that has a chance. You know what I mean? But him and James Conner, that would be kind of cool. But I feel like Derrick Henry is a one-back guy, and I feel like he might go to the Jets or something. I don't know. You got Brees Hall. I don't know. You never know with running backs. You always want to have two running backs. But yeah, pretty bad game for the Jaguars. We had the Vikings and the Lions. This game was, I got this game correct as well. This game was a pretty easy win to an extent, for the Lions. Nick Mullins, he's not very great. There's a lot of, Justin Jefferson was the only one. Him and Amon St. Brown were just trading back and forth, each drive. Just a very, in the air attack type of game. A lot of yards. How many yards were in the air in this game? Like, you have over 700 yards, passing, which is insane. But, yeah, a lot of first downs, we have here 43 first downs. Pretty efficient on both sides. But the time of possession for Minnesota, and they still lost. That's killer. Next we have the Jets and the Patriots. I was really hoping that the Patriots were going to go out, with the bang. You have Bill Belichick's last game as a Patriot. You have, I don't know. I just feel like he was going to go out, with a little bit more. But, Brees Hall, 37 carries. That's insane. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen a running back get probably past 30, maybe 35. I don't think any running back hit 30 this season. If they did, it had to have went to overtime, but 37 carries is crazy. As you can see here, the offenses were just balling out with 19 total first downs between both of them. Time of possession, this game was this was slow. No offensive production for the Patriots. That was a problem all season. Did I not press back? Oh, a little frozen here. Sorry about this. Little technical difficulties. We had the Bucs and the. I'll just go on to the next game. The Bucs and the Panthers. This was a pretty. It's almost kind of annoying, in my opinion, to see. I'm not really sure how the Panthers are. I'm not really sure how their offense is just this not productive. They are. You can't score 0 points in back-to-back games. That's hard to do. It's very difficult to do. You got to be able to put up points, at least get into field goal range to just do stuff. They couldn't even get into field goal range for 2 games. 94 yards passing. This is one of the worst assembled, I think, dysfunctional offenses that I've seen in terms of production. Like, this has to be historically bad in terms of points. They can't score. They just can't. There's nothing really to go off of this game. There's no highlights. Last 12 o'clock game on Sunday, we had the Browns and the Bengals. I did have the Browns winning this game. Didn't know that Jeff Driscoll was going to start. That was something I didn't take into accountability. Threw 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, 166. Jake Browning, he played pretty decent. This was just a game of backups. It feels like a bunch of backups for the Browns were in. The Bengals are already not in the playoffs, so they had nothing really to play for. But, yeah, there wasn't really much to go off of. This was just a This was a garbage time game. Nothing really to go on. Sunday we had a good amount of 3 o'clock games, actually. We had the Seahawks and the Cardinals. This game was actually really close. Kyler Murray played pretty good this game. 262, pretty efficient, 1 touchdown. Geno Smith had a pretty good game as well. James Conner, 150 for 27 carries, very efficient. James Conner the last 3 weeks was playing very, very good. Both teams were out of the playoffs. A lot of teams, I think, were resting their players because there wasn't really much to, risk. Just see who you got, on your roster. Put some backups in, see who can make the team next year. But I see here the time possession for the Cardinals was just completely insane, and 13 minutes is just a lot. It's a lot. It really is. Next, we have the Bears and the Packers. I did get this game. Oh, I got the Seahawks-Cardinals game correct. I did get the Packers and the Bears game correct as well. Let me see here. A little difficulty there. Sorry about that. This game was a garbage time game as well. Well, not for the Packers. The Packers actually needed to win. But the Bears, they just couldn't really get anything going. 148, no touchdowns for Justin Fields. Jordan Love, 316, 2 touchdowns. Pretty efficient. Aaron Jones, very great game. 13 first downs for the Bears. Nothing to really go on there, but Packers did get into the playoffs, so we'll see what they can do there. Next, we have the Eagles and the Giants. It's kind of stupid why they had Jalen Hurts in this game, why they had A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith playing. They had all these starters in. Devontae Smith gets hurt. A.J. Brown gets hurt. Jalen Hurts messes up his finger. It's like, why risk these things? You already are in the playoffs. Quit it. Like, what are y'all doing? Tyrod Taylor has a great game. Well, not a great game. He had an okay game, but the defense, they just completely shut down this Eagles offense whenever, all these starters are just getting mowed down. But, yeah, meaningless win for the Giants. Meaningless injuries for the Eagles. Next, we have the Rams and the 49ers. This was a big win for the Rams, even though a lot of the, both teams were in the playoffs. I don't even know if seeding was going to change, but, Sam Darnold was starting this game against Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, hasn't played football in a while, and he played pretty decent, I think. But, this was just a garbage time game, a lot of backups, nothing really to go on. I don't think this affected seeding at all, but just a divisional game, Next, we have the Chiefs and the Chargers. Another meaningless game. The Chargers almost actually, upset them. You have Blaine Gabbert playing, This was just a garbage time. There's not, these games were meaningless. They didn't really have any big effect. No real highlights, a lot of backups. Last 3 o'clock was the Cowboys and the Commanders. Another garbage time game, but a lot of the starters were still in. The Cowboys just kind of put the pressure on them. The Commanders didn't really need to try, but they did, and they couldn't get nothing done. Cowboys just kind of overkilled. 31-12 first downs. You beat a pretty garbage team, and you beat them down for no reason. Last game of the season goes out with an L. This was just it was poor. It was poor. Defense didn't show up. Offense couldn't move the ball. Play calling was just inconsistent. It was just really, really all over the place. We made no pressure, by the way. 0 pressure on the quarterback. I don't think we got a sack. 2 touchdowns. I mean, you can't get nothing done with that. Run game was non-existent, and we just couldn't move the ball at all. 17 first downs. I mean, anything less than 20 is really bad. Time possession. This was a pretty, close game, but, I don't know. This was just it was a garbage time. Neither team was going to really do nothing, but what can you do? Sunday night, we had the Bills and the Dolphins. This was a really good game. Both starters were in. This affected seeding. I believe if the Bills lost, they were out of the playoffs. But if they win, then they're first or in the second seed. Josh Allen didn't have a crazy great game. Threw 2 picks. Tua also threw 2 picks. James Cook couldn't get nothing done. The run game was pretty non-existent for both teams. 26 first downs for the Bills, 16 for the Dolphins. Tyreek had a pretty decent game. But time of possession is what really killed the Dolphins here. 17 extra minutes of possession. You're going to win the game by that. But big win for the Bills for them to get into the postseason. But, yeah, pretty impressive. This is, it's going to be a little bit shorter of a video. Like I said, there's not a lot to go off of. A lot of backups were in this type of game or this type of week. So there's nothing really, extravagant. A lot of the playoffs were set at this point. But a couple good games, a couple competitive games here and there, but a lot of backups. But we're getting on to the wild card weekend. We have 2 Saturday games, 3 o'clock. We have the Browns at Houston to face off the Texans. I have the Texans winning that game. I think C.J. Stroud and the Texans have a little bit more explosive offense than the Browns. But I'm going to be rooting for the Browns. I'm a big fan of Joe Flacco. I feel like he's I hate it that he was on the Broncos. I do, But I've always been a fan of Joe Flacco. It's hard not to root for him. At 7 o'clock, we have the Dolphins at Kansas City to face off the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs winning this. I don't see the Dolphins going in there, after, losing to the Bills. I just can't see them going out and beating the Chiefs. Sunday, I believe this is 3:30 or something. I don't know. We have the Packers and the Cowboys. I'm picking the Cowboys. I feel like the Cowboys should pretty easily win this game, just in terms of the roster. But they're putting up a lot of points, man. You got to put up a lot of points against the Cowboys, because they can put a 30 on you pretty quick. But we'll see. I have the Cowboys winning this. Cowboys do Cowboys things. Wouldn't be surprised if the Packers win, but Packers always beat them. I feel like at in Dallas. So I wouldn't be surprised if they beat them again. And then we have the Rams and the Lions. This is going to be a decent game, I think. A lot of rivalry. You have the Jared Goff coming back to Detroit. You have LA coming back to Detroit. Goff, Stafford. That's kind of cool. But I got the Lions. I feel like they have just a better roster overall. I just feel like the Rams are close. They're missing a piece or two, but I just feel like the Lions. I mean, they're gonna win this game. Monday we have the Steelers and the Bills. I have the Bills. There should be no reason why the Bills lose to the Steelers. The Steelers barely could beat the backups for who they play. The Steelers could barely beat the backup Ravens. Bills should easily win this. And then Monday night we have the Eagles at Tampa Bay. I have the Eagles winning this. Eagles have been struggling this last couple of weeks, but I feel like, maybe there's just a lack of motivation, because they already know they're in the playoffs, so maybe when the playoffs hit, it'll click, but have the Eagles winning. I'd be a little surprised if the Bucs win, but have the Eagles winning that. But, yeah. like I said, short video, not a lot of games to go off of, especially for this last week. A lot of backups, a lot of meaningless games. Nothing really to be like, oh, wow, interesting. So, pretty short video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. I am at 60% right now for my picks, which is maybe 9% lower than last year. But last year was a lot easier compared to picks. So, kind of sucks that it's that low. It's above average, but it's a little low. But, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. We have some great, hopefully playoff games, coming up. This video is coming out a little bit late, so that is my bad. Got a little busy, but yeah, I'll see y'all in a couple days to go over these games. So, yeah, appreciate it.